It's 7 o'clock, so we'll get started here at 7:01 now, actually. I just want to welcome you guys here. Joe, let's just kind of, thanks Pam, one of our board members is here. I don't think you're the only board member here right now, so thank you for being here. Let's introduce ourselves if we are an employee of the district and our role in the district. So let's just kind of go around, start with you, Joe.
I'm Joe Martin, I'm the Director of Technology.
Okay?
Flash Schulte, Project Manager.
Okay.
Denise Pierce,
I'm gonna throw, how about that?
Brenda Hatfield, Director of Quality Improvement. Denise Pierce, Director of Business Services.
Stephanie Slayer, Director of Adult Education.
Ron Jewell, Adult Education.
Okay.
Jason Hawk, Chief Financial Officer.
Good morning, Amy Beers, School Community Relations. Stephanie Stafford, Executive Assistant Professional. Gabriel Whitmer, Manager of the Performing Arts Center.
Rich Gaffney, Disability Davidson, JCAC, Director of Performing Arts Center.
There we go. Okay, so got all our introductions out of the way here. So anyway, we're just so glad you're here. We're going to talk about boundaries, kind of give an overview there. Going to give an overview. We have some diversity meetings in the fall, and kind of give an overview of that. Going to give an update to our board Monday night at our board meeting. Want to invite folks to join our board meeting, but during my report, give an update on that, and then an update just on our building project where we are with Second High School and progress that's going on there. So if you've got a chance to drive by 179 or Mission Drive, which is directly north of St. Mary's Hospital, I want to encourage you to do that and drive by. Not meaning drive up in there, but just stay on the street. I want to invite folks to do that to kind of see some progress there. So starting out here with boundaries. So we have here, this is our district boundary lines. We had here the graph. I'll just kind of share with you the buildings. We could make it a little smaller. There's a scale. This is on our district website, so I encourage folks just go to jcschools.us and about us, and this district map, so you can see this. So we'll start here from the west to the left to the right. We have Pioneer Trail, and these are our elementary boundary lines based on color. So we have Pioneer Trail, we have Bel Air, Lawson, South is purple. This here, all bluish, greenish is west. Cedar Hill, Thorpe Gordon, Morrill Heights, east, north, and Callaway Hills. Okay, we have 11 elementary schools. Boundary lines as we, when Pioneer Trail was approved and passed, there was some redistricting at that time, and you can kind of see the boundary lines accordingly. Last year, if we zoomed in here for East Elementary, last year we changed boundary lines here with East, Thorpe, and Morrill Heights. We put boundary lines basically back like they were some time ago to alleviate some pressure at East Elementary, Morrill Heights, Thorpe, Gordon, and things have kind of settled after enrollment-wise. Callaway Hills is our smallest elementary school enrollment-wise, and then next is East. East has, at this, the last, and it fluctuates, I think 2 more kids at East than Callaway Hills. It does have the smallest average class size at 16 kids per class. Callaway Hills is next at 19. So that really helped there as far as on some pressure with some overcrowding. So that was boundary lines that we went through last spring and had some community town halls with parents in those 3 schools. To work through that. So basically where we are, and the reason why we're going to boundary lines, one, our policy committee looked at, basically said we need to look at boundary lines on a more regular basis, okay, versus never. So I'm just trying, we need to visit that. Now that doesn't mean that every year you need to look at changing boundary lines. It's, you know, there needs to be some stability. Of folks of having confidence of where they live and school-wise and where they're going, but that isn't well, we'll just stay there because that's the way it's always been. So looking at on a 3 to 5 years, let's look at and reassess and evaluate boundary lines. There are other districts that visit boundary lines on a consistent, regular basis. So when we went through the bond issue last year and the passing of the second high school, we conveyed the land that we currently own now, that owned, and was paid for, was on 179, which is in the boundary lines here of Cedar Hill. And Cedar Hill feeds the current high school. Thomas Jefferson, we've conveyed, would feed the new high school. So with that, we knew that there was going to be some tweaks. But somebody said, why are you even messing there? You know you're going to get folks fired up. Why are you even doing that? Well, it's something we need to look at. So I shared, I'm not going to, right here's where the current high school is, and here's where the new high school is going to be. And if you just looked at our, our district boundary lines, you could say we're a mini United States here with a Florida, a boot of Italy down here, and an Alaska up here. And I said earlier, you got Texas here, and that's kind of screwed up. They're screwed up anyway. So, but if you looked here, and if you just drew a line down the middle of the east and west part of our district boundary lines and draw a line down the middle, you could do that. When we looked at doing that, there's about 350 to 400 students difference between the two high schools. The poverty was 15 to 20% difference, and so that didn't work. Both middle schools, and you could say, well, these are all, when you look at these boundary lines, I mean, let's say right here, Cedar Hill. Cedar Hill right now feeds Lewis and Clark. So if you live south of Lawson, if you live right here, Thomas Jefferson's right here, you go to school over here at Lewis and Clark. And somebody says, were you going to fix that if you're redoing boundary lines? Well, the reason why this, in 1993, our community said, we're not going to have the haves and have-nots. We want to keep poverty the same, enrollment the same, as close as we can, and that's why. And some folks don't understand that. And common sense of, just have a line in the middle, and this side goes here and this side, but it's not quite that simple, because we want to ensure that all students have the same opportunities, regardless of whether you go to school, and to try to keep very, very similar demographics as best as we can while working through that. So that is why there are boundary lines that, that's not my token answer on some of these, of why are there knobs and so forth. And previous districts that I ran in, there would be a line, and I'm like, why did that happen? I said, well, 85 years ago, there was a farmer that got mad and he was on the board and he did this or that, and they just went around his farm. That is real. That happens. I have no knowledge of that happening anywhere in our school district, but there are, as you can see, there are different lines. Some that have been in place a long, long time. Some that, like I said, were changed here with Pioneer Trail. So, with that being said, I just kind of wanted to touch on you with the process. This is our current boundary lines. We are looking at different scenarios. I'm not showing you those scenarios here today. I want to give you an overview of kind of where the process is. If you have any questions on it, you can sure ask. So, from this, with where the second high school sits is in Lewis and Clark, the district hired a demographer to look at scenarios to keep with two guiding principles. We want enrollments to be similar. Right now, our high school in football is class 6, they're class 5 and everything else with regards to athletics and activities. We anticipate dividing that in half, that we would be a class 5 in football and a class 4 in everything else. We want them to be very, very similar in size, as is Lewis and Clark and Thomas Jefferson. Now that spread now is about 145 kids between, is that close, I think, of Thomas Jefferson and Lewis and Clark, with about 145 kids more at Thomas Jefferson and Lewis and Clark. The poverty has remained. 2 years ago, there was a higher free and reduced percent at Thomas Jefferson and Lewis and Clark. Last year it was flopped. This year it flopped, as in Lewis and Clark was higher than Thomas Jefferson. This year, I believe it's 3.7% higher poverty at Lewis and Clark than Thomas Jefferson. So the demographer would say if you could have anything within 10% would be acceptable. But what's acceptable? Your definition, Ronnie, of acceptable might be different than mine, than everyone. So we want to try to have as similar as possible within trying to also anticipate down the road with what might happen down the road. So I don't believe from my lens and the board's lens of we're going to change boundary lines every year. We don't think that makes a lot of sense. We also want to use some common sense while still keeping enrollment similar and poverty similar. So we had asked community members that would volunteer, that would like to be a part of the committee for looking at boundary lines. We have 11 elementary schools, and in a perfect world, we wanted 3 from each elementary school to have equal representation across the line. So there was approximately 85 to 100 folks that said, hey, I'd like to. We asked them to give the reason why, that it was for big picture wise, not just self-serving. There are some folks that have different motives for why they would want to serve on that. So trying to look at where we are down the road to help our district become a premier school district and serve our kids in our community as we believe we're stronger together. So there was an initial committee meeting, and these are open to the public. It was at Dix Road, and the demographer for Preston Smith that I touched on started out with a scenario of trying to keep the poverty as close as possible. And the scenario that he gave, I believe, was 1.8% difference with both schools. Now, that involved looking at the southern part of Lawson, having them basically taking the northern wrinkle of Cedar Hill, where the second high school sits, the northern part of it to come here, and then the southern part of here to offset to keep the enrollment close and the poverty close. So that's kind of where they started, with some other scenarios under consideration. Last night, there was a committee meeting. They came up with an 8th scenario. We had a 7th scenario where we looked at basically keeping everything the same and just taking where the high school is and as minimal amount of changes as possible to see what would happen enrollment-wise and poverty-wise. When we took basically just right around the school, it was 1 student different. Actually, between the two, poverty was 4.1% different. So last night, they were looking at a scenario at Cedar Hill, going to the new high school and then gaining some from West and Bel Air. Okay? And as I can see some looks and eyes like, are you serious? Hey, we're looking at all scenarios. We're just trying to consider all possibilities. I'm not going through all that right now. We're going to have plenty of these meetings. We're going to communicate, be very proactive, that we believe we're stronger together, and we can agree to disagree, but we're going to work through while we're still trying to keep enrollment the same and the poverty. We're not saying it's not going to be identical, but as close as possible, and that's one reason why there are some that geographically, there are some locations that they may be closer to another middle school, and we anticipate there's going to be some that may be closer to the current high school or the new high school and maybe going to the other. And some would say, well, that doesn't make sense. The guiding factor is keeping so we don't have the haves and have-nots and enrollment as similar as possible. So it's a great problem to have. I've talked to many schools across the state that have worked through boundary line changes. They're very emotional. Folks are very fired up. That shows they're passionate. That's awesome that we are in this together, but we're trying to work through, look, we're trying to use some common sense, but we also want to make sure that we are in this together. We're giving all students the same opportunities between both schools. Any questions on, there's a lot of different parts, and again, I'm not going through the scenarios. I'm going to give the board an update during my report on Monday night of kind of where we are in the process, but I wanted to get from an 80,000 feet lens. Yes, Pam?
Where can everyone find the meeting schedule, please?
Where can they find the meeting scheduled? I don't believe that the ones now, and Amy, help me out here, the ones last night and this week are online meetings with the committee members. So if they're an online meeting, that's not a community meeting. It's not that we're saying they can't be there, but as far as the specifics, because of geographics of a guy living in Kansas City that's leading it, he was doing it online. I don't know the schedule of the next one. Amy, do you know?
January 8th to January 11th. The larger committees were broken down into smaller groups, and that was a request from Preston, our demographer. Last night, folks that may not have been as comfortable walking on remotely, we provided space in the office, and I did receive calls from parents and said, you're welcome to come listen to the show, but we waited for them to go to work. But yeah, that one, since that was held in person, that one was open for folks to come to you.
What time of day were those meetings?
That one was at 4:30.
No,
The others-
January 8th.
I'm sorry. They're online meetings that the committee will be logging in and doing like a go-to webinar with Preston.
So I would anticipate having, and whether it's in this setting here, to give folks an opportunity as an agenda item. It's not on Monday night. We're just giving the process with the committee folks, but the online is obviously not a community online. That is with the groups But folks will have an opportunity. I've had many, real quick there, I've had folks in the southern part of Lawson. I've had many, probably, I don't want to say how many conversations and meetings and emails, and that's about it. Great.
That kind of dovetails my question, how many Matt farmers do you have?
How many Matt farms? There's one or two. But you know what, honestly, we see this as an opportunity of, there is, at the end of the day, I believe, and Michael, welcome, as another board member here, and Pam, as two of our board members, that we want to make sure that we have as close as equal as we can, enrollment-wise and poverty-wise. Now, we cannot anticipate to honestly know 8 years from now what's going to happen to the second high school enrollment-wise. We can start out close to even, and who knows what may happen over the next 15, 20 years. I've given the example kind of kiddingly about the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. That's not being a good steward of just assuming that everybody will move somewhere. And if they do or do not, then well, why didn't you plan accordingly? Pioneer Trail. We have a trailer at Pioneer Trail. Okay? I wasn't here in 2007 when this was added to anticipate the growth and to bring a trailer. That's not ideal. So you're trying to be a good steward and not build an extra 20 classrooms, and then they don't move. Like, well, why are you wasting our money versus if you didn't, well, why didn't you plan for it? It's that fine, delicate line. So there is room for growth at the second high school to build on and locations for that. So that's a delicate line with that. I'm saying that I couldn't go. Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Online meetings, I mean, the democracy in the city.
Right.
Seems like to me he should come to Jefferson City.
He did the first one.
Well, all.
Right.
So we can have it open because getting the information, second party, third party, very, what you said, I think, great for me.
Right.
For me to hear it.
Right.
And so I would like, and I would make a recommendation that we post them so people know who is needing their help.
Right.
And that you can come to them. I was looking online to figure out when meetings are, and she had calendar meetings. And I would like to hear, but because we get out in the public, I've already heard that it appears to all the African American promotion and student enforcement. So to minimize all of those conversations, there's kind of one or two people, what can the board do to at least have that conversation in an open environment? The online meetings typically not be moderate learning. And so now can we do something different so that what we can say is we're open and transparent and people have an opportunity to listen?
Right. JC.
So, just to explain what's happening with these online meetings, it's kind of messy right now. So Preston took that map and broke it up into maybe 5,000 little bits, little puzzle pieces. And so what these meetings are doing is they're taking a scenario and they're saying, all right, well, and so they started with this scenario and they said, all right, what would happen if we would take, for example, what happened last night, what would happen if we took all of Cedar Hill and we moved it to the second high school? What does that look like? And then what do we have to move then to the current high school? So it's a process of him online plucking a lot of little bits and saying, all right, here's what that looks like. All right, let's pluck a whole bunch of other little bits and move them over here.
So even if we aren't able to be there, stream it, so people can listen, because I think people listen with that initial conversation of let understand the final decision and what have to make. So I was saying, from my standpoint, I would like to hear it so I can defend it when people come to me and try to have a color, have a reason. So if this is where the norm, then I guess.
So what we talked about then is, so we have a scenario 6, a scenario 7, they came up with a scenario
nice scenario, where we look back a couple of meetings, not only for people to talk, but for the community to hold. And they'll go to the scenario.
Absolutely. Is the solution to that is simply broadcasting on board meetings?
Say that again?
Is the solution to that just simply broadcasting like on board meetings?
Well, the solution, I think what Jason's referencing is vetting, the vetting process to come up with scenarios have not been that we're gonna have 20 community town hall meetings to vet, and then whoever has the loudest voice and have the mic the longest to have a scenario. Looking at options, pros and cons of all of those, and then that, Frank, I'll get you in a second. And we'll get all of, folks will have an opportunity and the community will have an opportunity. As the same as last year, we had 107 community presentations on 2 high schools. I think the community felt like, you know what, they had an opportunity to share their voice, whether they thought we were crazy or they thought, you know what, we support this, and we're gonna do the same thing with that. So, I think it's an important aspect to that part of vetting it, that when we ask for volunteers and community, folks are gonna have an opportunity. And the part saying that African Americans are gonna be stuck at, that is the poverty right now, or the diversity between Thomas Jefferson and Lewis and Clark. I don't have that exact number, and I thought it was even a wrinkle higher at Thomas Jefferson than it is in Lewis and Clark. And as a starting spot between those two, that there would be more diversity at the new high school than the old high school. So you can squelch when somebody says, yeah, we're skipping. I don't know. But you just shared that somebody had shared that with you. Right. Absolutely. Right. We will look at that, David, I'll get you in Frank, we'll look at that. There are so many different ones, and how many of those, and they go, well, why did you put this one and not this one? We're not trying to hide anything. We are trying to, and I think when we make, at the end of the day, to the board a recommendation that we vetted this, here's pros and cons on all of these different scenarios, and I think that's why we're talking about it today. Somebody asked me, are you really going there? Yeah, why wouldn't we? We're going there. So we're willing to have the conversation to build, defend the process that we're going through. David.
I guess as a member of those committees, I just wanted to make a point that it kind of explained to us, if it helps, we're just doing the homework, and then the decisions will still be made by the board after the meeting, just like you're talking about. So as a committee, we're just looking at what the different options are. We're doing the bootwork on it, and then the decision will be made somewhere else. We even have access to as we're making this decision.
Are these online meetings covered by Missouri's open meeting law as far as advance notification is concerned?
Committee, as a school district and sunshine law public, they're not denied. I think that's a good, I believe so. Does anybody have any wisdom on that?
Yes, they are.
Okay, well, I mean, I assume that it's not hidden, it's, okay, where is the groundwork of that? We had coffees with Larry here without it being live streamed. It's like, well, did we break the law? No, we didn't break the law. Folks are welcome to attending those when you have committee meetings to do the groundwork of all of that, and then make sure you report out the findings of that. You know, that's what we're gonna do. So yes, any school-wide type of stuff is covered by that and allowed. It's just of, you know, how much of that is that the community wants, that's beneficial of, to get the end result of what we're trying to do concerning options.
So you mentioned Columbia Preston, there aren't very many demographers in the country, but Preston is in Missouri. Preston did Columbia's, and this is the exact same process that Columbia did. They came in and did a couple live meetings and then did online meetings. He's done the same process in dozens of districts in Missouri, so if we can look into the sunshine law issue.
But there's nothing, I guess I just wanna, everyone has your own, whether Larry's just telling you what you wanna hear or not. There's nothing underlying that, well, you're trying to keep us from, not at all. We're just trying to objectively looking at what is best for our district, but keeping the enrollment as close as we can and the poverty as close as we can while factoring in all those other factors. And so our community will have every opportunity to, that's why we talk about it today. It's to where folks and things are, hey, good point to consider, that this will be topics and we're going to discuss it because we realize these are major, obviously emotional. Folks feel like, well, you're hiding, we're not hiding anything. Okay? We're going to have a lot of scenarios we're going to look through, and I have the responsibility of any recommendation to the Board of Education that we vetted it, pros, cons, the whole ball of wax, and then we go forward from there. Okay? Okay, I have 7:27. So this is, there'll be more information on this when we talk about boundaries. So I wanted to touch on that. I wanted to, two parts here, and I want to give an update on our diversity meetings, and that I could anticipate possibly being a longer conversation, which is great. But I want to make sure an update, even if it's small. So Carrie with Architects Alliance, Mitchell with Nabholz. Carrie, would you kind of give an update where we are, or Mitchell? Mitchell with Nabholz, just kind of the process with the second high school. Would you mind doing that, Carrie?
Sure. You probably been by the site now, you see the trees are being removed from the site. That allows geotechnical engineers to do more investigation of underground subsurface conditions. It allows more surveying to occur. And we're also concentrating primarily in the building itself area. The goal is to get a building pad prepared as soon as possible. And I think that goal is April. So that's what we're concentrating on. If you think about the second high school versus the existing high school, there's an enormous amount of earthwork, footing work, and prep work before real building construction can begin. So that's what we're pushing for very hard on the second high school site. Once that's done in late spring, both, when the kids are out of the current high school, construction activities will be going on at both. But we are really pushing, and Nabholz is helping with that effort to push on the construction activities to get ready for building construction on the second high school site. Clearing the rubbing packages out, awarded and underway. January 15th will be another package come out that will be major earthworking, moving, start seeing some serious grading on site. Again, it's not focused on the whole site, it's focused on that building pad so that we can get trades in there starting to work on the building. We are, in that vein, there is still design work going on, there's still detailed design work going on, so you've seen some of the 3D images and the fly-throughs and things like that. That work continues to develop, so you don't necessarily go into a classroom and see all the detail yet. We're working from the basics, the superstructure of the building, and then we will get to chalkboards and outlets later. So we're really doing construction and design at the same time. And Nabholz has been a great partner with the design team, working with that and giving us feedback on constructability and budget items as we're working on the design. An example is this large package that's due January 15th. There were just still a lot of questions on what practice fields out there that eventually end up being sports fields, we're still talking about that. So we're issuing that package on January 15th from the West Road westward, which picks up the building pad, while we continue to have discussions with the owner and athletic staff on exactly how those practice fields want to be to make the most sense for in the future when those get developed beyond the scope of this project. So that's kind of where we are. We're still designing and we're under construction. So that is the expertise, frankly, that Nat Holtz brings to the table. So, Mitchell, did I say anything?
I think the only thing really to add, we are finishing up taking down all the trees. We'll be mulching those up on site, so you're going to see a bunch of berms kind of going around the site to control the water. And then we've got logs being stacked up to be salvaged, so we'll be reaching out to companies to purchase those to be able to reimburse the district for the value of those. And then the next effort, while we're getting this grading package bid out, will be we're going to start. There's going to be some blasting to happen to get the rock excavated, so we'll be doing pre-blast surveys over through the month of January to get ready for that to happen at the end of February.
Yeah. And a lot of people have said, you know, why aren't you doing all the grading, doing all the utilities? Again, we're concentrating on getting that building pad prepped so that we can get other trades, footings, foundations, steel erectors, masons on site to start working on the superstructure of the building. We can finish other site work areas as that's going on. So, and I want to mention that Mitchell has actually moved to the area, so.
Yeah, finally got back.
I don't know if he wants to give his cell number out, but he's available 24/7.
They put it on my card, so I guess I have to get it out. But yeah, we'll, the adjustments from the area too, we've got trailers gonna be set down on Frog Hollow Road, so anybody that comes by the site, make sure you check in with us down there, and we can give an update there. But yeah,
So, a lot of things going in the air. We're sort of like juggling underwater right now between design and construction. But I'm really glad to hear you talking about boundary lines because it makes our job seem a lot easier.
yeah.
With earthwork, have there been any expensive surprises, or is it pretty much how they figured the bidding?
How they figured in the bidding, it's millions of dollars, and we pretty much anticipate rock on virtually every project in Jefferson City. And I'll use the old example that you've probably heard me use before. When this atrium was built, we investigated underneath. We found an existing prehistoric swamp 70 feet down. It was still there. The creek used to flow this way instead of where it does now. Right across the street, at the exact same time, the financial center was under construction, sitting on solid rock. So we were on rush and they were on rock. It's just the nature of the beast in doing work here. Those contingencies were in the budget. There's been no surprises. You can even tell driving up Mission Drive, they had to cut through rock to get up Mission Drive. So we're hitting rock, we're hitting all kinds of soil. That was anticipated.
I might just touch on with regards to the practice facilities and athletics, because I know there's a lot of questions or interest on in that. We have the outdoor athletics practice facilities for all of those at the site, with planning for down the road, however many years, 3, 7, 27, however down the road, to have an athletic complex at the second high school. If the second high school, our community said, why can't we have our own acting stadium, or our own, why can't we have our own, so forth. So right now, practice facilities for soccer, baseball, softball, track, football, tennis, anything else outdoor that I'm missing? That's it. Javelin with track, javelin, discus shot with track, location to build practice for all of those practice facilities at the second high school, with plans for whenever that day comes down the road, which I would anticipate someday, maybe a long time, but we want to make sure that it's not that you have to start from scratch, being a good steward down the road for that decision.
And frankly, that can be a point of confusion. We have to have diagrams to show show that. But a complete sports complex, finished competition sports complex was not even in the vote or the bond issue, it was practice field. So we had those diagrams to prove to ourselves that it would work, but some of that is a future phase.
Will there be practice facilities when the school opens then?
That's, there will be a place for kids to practice. Now, whether it be the final product of practice facilities, that is not determined right now. We want to make sure the doors are open so we can start with school. Obviously, you got fall sports, and you've got your outdoor football and your fall soccer and tennis, fall sports outdoor.
I can guarantee that when the kids first move in there will be the definition of practice field, which is flat grass. And I can guarantee that by the end of the project, there will be the definition of practice field of turf and the track, soccer, all of the baseball, all those things very well defined.
I was just curious if kids are going to be trucked from the new high school to the old high school to practice.
Not to practice, competition.
Artificial turf or grass?
That's the goal. Yes, sir.
We're getting pricing on that with turf. We have that current high school, so for turf there, track, all weather track. When you look at soccer, baseball, softball, tennis, of all of those of having the quality turf on the soccer, we're going to wait 179 inch grass. We do not have a soccer-wise turf here. There will not, I believe, at Acton Stadium, the pole vault runway, I believe, is on the inside of the stadium, which makes it, as far as having any competition. Soccer there. Pole vault is not playing on the inside of the track. So if that was, that could be an option.
The future building of the complex, I think is great for the 27 years. That'd be a tax increase too. Would that be absorbed just with savings as we go forward, or would the community expect to have two funds?
Correct. I can give you an answer. That decision would have to be made whether the community is going to fund that. As of right now, that's not top of my priority list. And while we're here, we want to make sure that we have positive learning environments in all of our schools. That, in my opinion, trumps whenever that time is. I'm not saying that then we're going to the future of doing that. That is, I think I would be not being a good steward if I didn't even think about down the road of saying that, someday somebody's going to say, why can't we have our own football stadium? Well, we want to make sure that that's planned, whether that's 27 years or not. Whether that's community funded, whether the district at that time, the Board of Education, wanted to ask the voters for that, whether it's something as far as donations, like Collide, they did their sports complex, all of those factors. So that's not planned right now. We just want to make sure when that day comes, however many years, that it can mesh with what's currently there.
And honestly, that dialogue is still going on between the design team, the construction manager, the owner, the board as to what that's going to be. That's why I said January 15th we're working on. We need a large bid package going out with a significant amount of earth. So we're going from the West Drive westward, which picks up that building pad to keep on schedule while we continue to have these exact conversations about what is the practice field exactly look like and what makes sense to dovetail that into a future sports complex. But we didn't want to slow things down to get all those final answers done and distract Mitchell and Apples from getting moving on that building pad.
So basically what you're saying is you've got the footprint of the new high school developed for the most part, and it's ready.
And we have everything shown too in terms of track, soccer, and baseball, and tennis. We're just making sure that that's the best location for if and when the 27-year plan kicks in. So we're still verifying that while we work on building that side of this.
For the media, there is no 27-year plan. Just want to clarify. Somebody say, I heard you guys say or reference that. Our long-term stretch goal is not, we have one, okay? and I'm more concerned about that, and that is to, our long-term stretch goal is 100% of our kids are at above grade reading level, okay? It's not that we have more state championships and this and that, and we want to have more state championships than everybody else, but it does not, that's not the number one priority, is make sure that our kids can read and to create a positive learning environment where we ensure that. And we still like to kick everybody's butt in athletics and everything else, but it, so that is to make sure we have a positive learning environment in our schools. Any other questions for Mitchell or Carrie on the building project?
And Michael Feemster wanted to be here today. He's the, I guess you call him the lead from the Animal side. His wife had a baby this week. So we gave him a pass. Yeah. We gave him a pass to not have to be here. And his mother-in-law came in from Alabama and promptly got the flu. So I'm not sure what's worse, having a healthy visiting mother-in-law from Alabama or one with the flu. But he's having an entertaining week right now.
Great, Carrie, thanks. Yes, Dave,
One question
absolutely.
on this topic. As of right now,
Yes.
which group of students would be the first students in the new building?
This year's 7th graders and this year's 8th graders within Thomas Jefferson would be freshmen and sophomores in the fall of 19.
And that's still the plan?
That's still the plan.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? Okay, I want to just give an update on our, an overview. I'm going to give an update to the board on Monday night during my report on our diversity meetings. The last part that has not been, we will give an update at our February board meeting from the students, grades 6 through 12, on what they see as the school's role with regards to diversity. In the fall, we had some meetings in the community and town halls and asked, and I just want to give a report out. I'm going to get into more detail Monday night with our board, but just kind of an overview of what we basically asked 3 questions: what they saw as the school's role, what they asked and seen as the parent's role, and then what's the community's role. Okay, we have an important role in this. It's not the, well, if the schools just do their job, we wouldn't have all these issues. That, in our opinion, is we're a huge part of it. But it's not, it doesn't lie on us, it's all of us together, because we believe we're stronger together. So, from the diversity, the town hall meetings and the community meetings, we had over 5. The school's role kind of summarized in 3 things, and I'll, again, go into more detail Monday night at our board meeting. Diversity training that is real, relevant, and current as the school's role. Okay, to answer on that, we have Dr. Juanita Simmons from Northwest Missouri State. She was at MU. She is coming 3 times here to do staff training. And there's some different elements of that. I'll get into more detail on Monday night, but that's something that we got a green light from her actually this week. Second part, embed diversity across the curriculum, not just the month of February, but we're all in this together, and that's an important part as we look at how we teach that throughout. So that was the second part. Number 3, increase minority presence of staff. Okay, that it would reflect our student population. That's something that we see is important. So Shelby, I think Shelby just left, is our director of HR. She didn't leave just because I was going to touch on this. She had a meeting. But one, our processes for how we hire folks. Okay, whether it is our head football coach or whatever it is, processes that are sustainable, repeatable, consistent. That we have a process of how we do things, and that is across the board. And we would like that reflecting of our student population. So that was an important part that our community had set, and then we recognize that. What is the parent family's role? 3 things. Number 1, be role models, teaching good character, conduct, commitment, and respect. Okay, so that's something that our community had said is the parent's role in it. Number 2, be involved. Districts should create/implement family functions to create unity, continuing education programs for parents. Okay, that's the parent role and how we are in this stronger together. Number 3, talk about diversity at home and teach acceptance of when there are differences. Okay, that's an important part. So that's something that the 5 meetings have said that the parents and the family's role. The last thing, and what is the community's role? Okay, organize, attend community-wide culture and diversity training. Okay, that's an important part that they saw as the community needing to do. Number 2, enhance and improve partnerships, and as we work with Lincoln University, that's an important part of that. Becoming mentors, getting involved as an important part of that. So we recognize that. Our hiring practices, Dr. Simmons coming in our staff training, bringing back the multicultural advisory committee that was in place years ago. We are bringing that back, okay? Looking at the goals that they had set before, do we want to keep them the same? Do we want to tweak them? Do we want to change those? So, I think due today is all of our staff, the due date, I believe, from Dr. Schindorf, am I correct on that? Of asking our staff, what do you see as the school's role? And we'll have that, and I hope to have some summary bullets from that for Monday night. Our students, the 612 students that we asked, I shared at the beginning here, that will be finalized, and we'll give an update at our February meeting with that. So, just wanted to touch on that. We believe we're stronger together, and that there are differences, and whether it's of color, whether it's of values, whether it's of they like KU instead of MU, there are differences. And in our culture, and somebody at the stoplight honking their horn at you, how we are a part of that process that starts at home, that we have a role at school. If there are differences in how we work through those, is an important life skill, and we believe that, and we acknowledge that, and we want to be a part of the solution with that. So, just want to give you an update on that. Does anybody have any questions on that? Yes, Frank.
Could you expand on the concept of continuing education for parents? What can be done, what are all things we're doing?
That's a great question. Continuing education for parents. So our community has said that as an important part. I think of it's here today. It's talking about the boundary lines, continuing education that we want folks to be knowledgeable, educated. That's why we went there. I bet folks saying, you're crazy for even having those type of things. The diversity meetings. Hey, let's go there and have the conversation. So it's educating them on, get involved in our school. Ask questions. If you're curious, if you don't know, ask the question. With regards to them, when they get their tax bill, and nobody likes, well, how are we going to understand that? Or how are we being good stewards of patrons' money? How am I ensuring that reading is a priority in our school district?
But is there any education of parenting skills?
Are there any? There's a lot of them.
Is education of parenting skills part of that goal or not?
Yes, Brenda, please.
Conscious discipline. We've done a big push on getting PTOs and schools to work together to get parents involved in conscious discipline. And there's been a lot of meetings, and there was one last night at Southwest Early Childhood. There's been several at Moral Heights as well as, I believe, South, but don't quote me on that one because I wasn't there. But that's one of the big efforts I see that you've been
Conscious discipline.
Right. We had 18 schools. Nichols Pearson was combined with the high school. We had 17 meetings, invited the parents and the school communities to come in and talk about, hey, here's how we're making student behaviors a priority, because our community and our parents said student behaviors need to be a priority. So that was a part of educating them. Having 107 community presentations, having these monthly, are all part of how are we educating. That's a very subjective term on what that means. I think that the underlying, to me, the root is we believe we're stronger together, and that means even if we have differences, that we're going to work together and work through those, and always learning, and I'm still learning, and here today, and good points for me to consider that's an ongoing basis. Good question. Yes,
Just going to follow up on Frank's.
Yeah.
The district also sponsors an adult education program. You know,
Transit department.
for individuals that need improvement in their reading, in their math skills, preparation for work, individuals that may have dropped out of school, anywhere, and are needing like an equivalency. Our adult education program helps those individuals, hopefully attain those goals. So, and our classes are free, but it is sponsored through the district, with support from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So that's part of that adult education that you're talking about too, is helping parents read better, the children understand math better when they come home trying to do their homework. We provide that instruction to parents to help them, with their responsibility of educating their own children.
And do you reach a lot of parents this way?
We do. We can do a whole lot better with it, I think. But we are trying to make ourselves more available, and it's kind of like we're trying to put together a marketing program, maybe working better, a little more closely with the school district to get word out to these parents, you know, that there's an opportunity for, you know, improving their math skills, reading skills, maybe getting that equivalency.
Does Stephanie have something to add to that?
I was just gonna add that we, you know, well, I'm new, I started in August, and so one thing that we've been trying to do is work more closely with the district, like Ron was saying, and, you know, meeting with different people at the board office, and we've had a lot of support, so I will say that, it's been really, really nice, and being someone new at the district, coming to these things, you know, I feel really, you know, part of the community, part of the school district, and so, we're just trying to meet more with people who can, you know, support us and get that word out, and that way we can then support the community. So we are doing a lot of that and getting a lot of support from the district, so.
Okay, any other, questions, comments? I'll stay around here if you have any, you'd like to snap or talk, ask anything else. Okay, well, thank you guys for coming here. Stay warm, and enjoy your day, but we'll linger around here, and again, thank you guys for coming. Have a nice day. Thank you.